We announced a partnership with Conor McGregor today with his beer, and he's going to be an ambassador for it. You can rate a fighter from 1 to 10. You can have two tens and they fight, and it's a boring fight. You can have two ones, they fight, and it's the most exciting fight you've ever seen. So my whole entire model for BKFC is really just put on exciting fights. If you like combat sports, you can't not like it. It doesn't cause long-term damage. There's not a lot of major injuries. We have less facial fractures, less hand breaks than boxing or mixed martial arts. The only thing we have more of is laceration. And a lot of other people were like, no one's ever going to watch that. You're never going to get it sanctioned. Dana White, for instance, was one of the guys who I have nothing but respect for right now. And I pitched it to him, and he was like, "That you'll never get that legal. No one will ever watch that." Here we are in a great spot where people are watching it. I want to be the first person from my town to have $1 billion business. When I say that, that's not the money, that's the legacy.
Hello, David.
Hello,
Thanks for doing this, David. Really appreciate your time. Whereabouts are you calling from?
Philadelphia.
Okay, cool.
What part of Australia are you in?
Sydney.
Oh, nice.
Have all your events been only in the States or have you done some international events?
We've done Mexico, Thailand, Bulgaria,
Oh,
UK. This year we're going to do, in addition to that, we're going to do Spain, South Africa, Japan, Middle East. We're targeted for 54 events in 9 countries this year.
wow. So you do one every single week?
Pretty much, yeah. Some we have two on if it's in a different country, one on a Friday, one on a Saturday. Different teams out there, but it's got pretty exciting, man.
How far are you sort of planned out already? Like how many lineups ahead are you usually ahead?
We're dates into December. I mean September right now, but we're not all the whole fight card made yet. Things change, and obviously, like we might use somebody in February that we're going to use again in August, and we can't schedule them until we know how they do in February. So we have a lot of plans. We actually just had a real good. We announced a partnership with Conor McGregor today with his beer, and he's going to be a ambassador for us. It was a really cool thing there. We have some big partnerships to announce in the next couple of weeks, so it's an exciting time to be a part of BKFC right now. And it's been a stressful 6 years, and we're getting to the top of getting to the place where we're going to be able to ascend into a pretty nice spot.
What made you start this whole sort of organization 6 years ago, David?
I mean, I've been working on it for 15 years now. It took me 9 years to get it legal. I couldn't get it legal. I did underground fights. I did fights. I just had people talking about it. I did a lot of different things and couldn't really get it legal. And then I found a gentleman who believed in what I was doing, and we were able to make it legal. We made it legal June 2nd, 2018 was the first event, and we just history from there. We just did our 75th event on December 2nd, and we'll have our next event January 27th, and then February, and then four in March, and five in April, and it just gets crazy from there. But it's a tiresome, exciting journey. You're tired, you're stressed, but you're excited at the same time because how many times in life are you really going to have an opportunity to really change the game, right? I'm in combat sports and I'm having an opportunity to change the game. And if I was in medicine, like how many times am I going to have an opportunity to come up with a medicine that's going to change the game, right? Once maybe. And I got this opportunity once and I'm going to make the most of it.
Did you have any history in business prior to sort of getting it legalized and setting it all up, David?
Yeah, I've been in combat sports my whole life. My dad trained 7 world champions. I was a professional boxer. My brother was. I promoted mixed martial MMA and boxing. I owned a couple of bar restaurants. So I've been in this. I've been up and down. I made some really good money, and I was down to nothing. And I was in great spots in my life and horrible spots in my life. And that's I think what made me never give up attitude.
And then how did you sort of get the company up and running? Did you have to get investors? Was it bootstrapped? What was the process of getting the sort of BKFC set up?
Yeah, I mean, it was bootstrapped and getting, some smaller guys giving me a little bit of money here and there to try to get this thing rolling. But, although we're considered the fastest growing combat sport in the world and it's really growing. Listen, June 2nd, 2018, there was one. There's 65 promotions in like 16 different countries right now. So it's crazy, right? So we didn't have the money to do some of the events, mortgage our houses, borrow money, do whatever we had to take, up until really just the event I did in April. I had to take loans out and do what I had to do. And that was a turning point for us. And the next event, December 2nd, the next big event really, really turned for us. And we got people to believe in us. We got some big time investors coming in. You know, one of the number one funds in the world, I'm not going to mention their name yet, but we had a great meeting with them on Friday. They called me back today and said that they want to follow up on Friday and make this deal happen. And, you know, here's a guy that, you know, everybody counted out and wasn't supposed to be anything really. From being a child all the way up into an adult, I was not supposed to be where I was. My childhood just dictated that I shouldn't be any type of success at all. And, you know, I got to a great point, and when I started this thing, people said it was a flash in the pan. It was a one-hit wonder. It wasn't going to last. Okay, maybe it'll last, but it's not going to be a big promotion. To, you know, I'm talking to literally the number one fund in the world right now. And, you know, what that feels like, it's an unbelievable feeling just to know that whether they do it or not, that they're interested. Like, you know, I started this thing from nothing, from scratch, man. No support. Nobody believed in me. And, you know, we're in a great spot. It's a great feeling not to do it just what people say you can't do, but when you're counted out, to say, man, I'm not counted out, and I'm going to find a way.
David, does it mean that you're sort of the sole founder? Did you have any co-founders? Are you the largest shareholder of the whole company?
I'm not now because I had to give away some shares to get the funding that I needed, but I am the sole founder and president. And, you know, I started it from scratch with the help of 4 guys. I had 4 guys on my team after I started it, after I launched it. And I had 4 guys on my team that are my solid guys that'll be with me forever. I'm going to change their lives pretty soon, so they're going to be really happy. And aside from them, you know, we just added guys as we needed them. Consider this. Look, I'm not saying we're the UFC. We're not. We're nowhere as big as them, but we're talked about quite a lot, man. And we have 5% of the employees that the UFC has. 5%. And it's crazy, man. We find ways to make it happen. We got a loyal following. We got a loyal fighters. We got loyal staff members. And I think, you know, that says a lot for the way they're treated. We're a team, and we're really a team, and we feel as though we're a team now. Like, there were times where this guy didn't want to help that guy, and that guy didn't want to help that guy. And I had to bring them together and say, listen, guys, we're a team, and there's no way we're going to work unless we all work together. And let's work together and make this the biggest thing out there. And then we did a huge event, and everybody talked about us. And I said, guys, we're on our way now. Let's go, man. Let's just keep teaming up. And, you know, really, I think it was just those dark days, those times where people were talking bad about you, where you're searching for money, you can't find it, to find ways to stay positive, right? Because positivity it means so much in life. You know, I said this on an interview I did the other day. I said negativity and surrounding yourself with negativity, right, is worse than cancer. And I had cancer, so it's worse than cancer. Like, negativity is the worst thing in the world. So if you can be positive and surround yourself by positivity and find positive people to be around you, man, it's going to be hard to lose.
Yeah, like thinking about how many events you've put out, like how do you not fall into exhaustion, burnout, and just like how do you keep it all together, David?
Legacy, man. I want to leave a legacy. And I'm tired sometimes and I don't want to do the next event. And I say, listen, man, I got to leave a legacy. And when I mean leave a legacy, like, I'm in this, like, there's a lot of entrepreneurs that are in things for different reasons, right? Like, people want to do certain things with their success and their entrepreneurial spirit. And, you know, some people want to buy the biggest house in the world and own 100 boats and open up 10 more businesses. I want to change lives, man. I want to change the lives of the people that bleed for me, that fight for me, that are my team. And if I can change their lives, then I know I made it. And I'm not far away from that right now. It's a great feeling. It's, you know, it's tough at times, like I said, but I mean, at the end of the day, is a lot of people say, what's your why, right? What is your why? And my why is, you know, I didn't have the best upbringing in childhood, and I have a fire that burns inside of me that won't let me quit because of that. Because I shouldn't really, I mean, everybody should be something, but the way my childhood dictated, I shouldn't be anything. I should never be here talking to you, man. I should be in jail. I should be doing drugs. I should be doing something wrong. And I'm not, because I use my fire for a different reason. I use my fire to fight back and to change lives. Really, it's about changing lives. Well, and when I get these messages from people that I help out and they tell me how much they appreciate it and I did this for them or that for them, you know, that's the best feeling in the world for me. And obviously, I also want to defy the odds. And, you know, it's fun turning the no's into yeses and turning the naysayers into believers. It's fun, and it happens all the time. And every day we're we're changing somebody else's outlook on this thing, and that is a fun thing.
What's the biggest current issue when it comes to fighter compensation, and what do you guys do differently? Like, how do you guys change sort of the fighters' lives? What's missing, and what's the solution you provide?
We provide different ways. We have sponsorships. We help them get sponsorships. We sell merchandise. We sell our app. We sell a lot of different things, and the fighters are included in all that. So when they win, we win. When we win, they win. And that's kind of how it happens. And they're all included in the win. And I'm not, look, there's a few fighters I overpay, but I overpay them for a reason. And they made really big moves for us. And that was, kind of as a marketing expense, but it went into them as a purse. Most guys I treat very, very fair. Some guys I'm equal to MMA or boxing. Most guys we pay more than. And it's just because I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's because I got punched in the face a lot. And, growing up and being a professional boxer, and I get what it takes, because I know that if you treat them fair, they want to fight harder for you, and they want to tell more people about it, and they want to tell other fighters to fight for you. And I think that that's a great way of winning. And I think we have a pretty good recipe to success there.
How do you go about sort of signing, finding, pitching fighters to sort of join the league?
It's crazy, man. The first year I was knocking down every door, calling every manager, every fighter around. I really, except for the top, I don't know, 0.5% of fighters, I don't have to call them anymore. They all call us. The game just changed. Why? Because of what I just said. Like, this guy says, man, that's a great organization to fight for. It's a great organization to fight for. So we've been in business now for 6 years. We have a pretty decent amount of employees now. No one's ever quit. We never lost an employee. Fighters, we've had almost 1,500 fighters fight for us. We've had 4 fighters out of 1,500 ask not to fight for us. You're going to ask for a release. I mean, that's unbelievable odds. And it's just because we really treat them as human beings, right? A lot of other companies and a lot of different businesses, they treat their employees as numbers. You're this, you're that. It can't be that, because you treat them as human beings. They want to help you, and you're out there searching for help. You're out there spending money on help, and you have help right in front of your face. You just got to treat them right. And if you treat them right, they want to help you. I mean, it's just natural, right? Like, someone's not treating you right, you don't want to help them. If they're treating you right, you want to help them get off the ground. You want to help them do what they have to do. And I think because we do that, it's reciprocated, and, we're starting some really good stuff here.
David, what you mentioned earlier seems so unique, where you sort of give the fighters a cut of the merch sales, sponsorships, app sales, I don't know, maybe pay-per-view. Like, how do you set that up? Because under each event, there's probably like a bunch of fighters. How do you split that up? Like, that seems so complicated, but so cool.
No, well, we have all affiliate links and things like that we can set up that way. And also, guys that have their own merchandise, we obviously keep track of that. We tell fighters, you have the opportunity to go talk to your guys. If you can bring a sponsor in for us, there's a percentage for you, right? If you can tell people about us, if you can sell tickets, you get a percentage of ticket sales. It's just, you make them feel a part. I think if you make people feel a part of the growth of it, they want to help more. They do. And I want them to, because I want to build an army, right? I don't want to stand on this island by myself, man. I want to be surrounded by all people that want to see this thing in the best position it can be in, and that's where we're headed.
What do you think your long-term goal is with the company? Do you want it to put in the most entertaining fights, the most entertaining sort of events, or is it very competitive? You want it to be like scores, who wins the belt of each sort of weight class? Do you want it to be like a very important competition? Which angle do you think you're going about it?
I just want to put on the best fights in the world, most exciting fights in the world. That's really all it's about, because what I've learned through doing this is you can have, rate a fighter from 1 to 10. You can have 2 10s and they fight and it's a boring fight. You can have 2 1s, they fight, and it's the most exciting fight you've ever seen. So my whole entire model for BKFC is really just put on exciting fights. And if you go to a BKFC card, 90% of the fights are always exciting. They're always exciting. So we built this for today's ADD society, right? Fast paced, nonstop action. You can't turn your head from it. And it's built perfectly for today's society. And because of the way we build it, and because of what we're looking for, and because of what we give the fans, we don't lose a lot of fans.
Was there like an early variation of this? Like, who came up with the rules, and did you come up with that all yourself, David?
I had me and my son actually really worked a lot together. My son's my COO now, and he did a lot of stuff with the ring, designing the ring, along with my guy Gary Grant, who actually built the ring, and one of my guys, Sean Wheelock, who's my commentator, but he also helped me with the rule set. He helped me get the rule set done actually helped us get it passed through unified rules in the United States, which is a huge thing. It was a team effort, come up with the idea and have people believe in it with you. And, a couple of people from the first word I said, they were like, I'm in. And a lot of other people were like, I don't, no one's ever going to watch that. You're never going to get it sanctioned. Dana White, for instance, was one of the guys who I have nothing but respect for right now. I mean, he's built a monster, right? He took it from nothing, built a monster. Whatever people say about him, that's what they say about him. But I met him a long time ago, and I pitched it to him, and he was like, "That you'll never get that legal. No one will ever watch that." And it's here we are in a great spot where people are watching it. So again, it's have a don't quit and be patient. Don't quit and be patient, and that's the two things that I think the key to success in life. Really, just don't quit and be patient, because a lot of people want it today and they don't want to wait for it to build. They see right in front of their face, and I don't. I see all the way down the end of the road, and that's patience. And I won't quit. I'm in this for bigger purposes, and that's why I can't quit. I won't quit, because I'm not going to set a good example for the people in my life if I quit. So look, it could go out of business someday. That's not me quitting. That's just it didn't work. But I'll never quit, ever.
I definitely feel like right now it's at that precipice where so many people are talking about, like how I found about it was through Bryce Hall and his fight, and it's sort of starting to get into the zeitgeist, and I feel like it's at that cusp, and I wouldn't be surprised if in like 6 months time you're like unreachable. So I'm so grateful I sort of got in this podcast, but it does feel like you guys are at that precipice, and that all the hard work it's compounding to like the next 6 months.
Yeah, man. I kind of feel the same way as you. I say it's a little longer. I think it's about 12 to 18 months. But we're in a great spot, man. And like I said, man, our fan base is rampant, man. And we don't lose fans. Like, if you like combat sports, right? I always say this. If you like ballet, you might not like it, right? If you like combat sports, you can't not like it. There's nothing not to like about it. It's fast paced, it's exciting. It doesn't cause long-term damage. There's not a lot of major injuries. There's a lot of blood. People like blood. You see blood. We have less concussive and subconcussive injuries. We have less facial fractures, less hand breaks than boxing or mixed martial arts. The only thing we have more of is lacerations. And that's such an amazing thing to get behind, right? Like, you want to get behind a sport that you're like, man, this is brutal. But guess what? Nobody's getting really, really hurt from it. Occasionally we do, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I never say we're safe, because anytime you have two men or women in any type of fighting platform and their object is to knock someone's head off, it's not safe, right? But we're no more dangerous than anything else out there, and it's way more exciting.
Wow, I did not know that. Why is it equally or less damaging than, like, say, MMA or UFC?
Because you're really, like, you have no protection on your hands, so you're really picking your shots just in fear of hurting your hands. So you're not throwing as hard. It's just natural instinct. You're just not going to. Now, look, we could have some more knockouts here and there. We don't have any. We have way less knockouts. We have way less. The only thing we have more of, like I said, is lacerations, and we have more stoppages than boxing or MMA. But that's for laceration. It's because it's the sweetest science out there. You have to pick your shots. You have to be very technical. And if you are, you have a really good shot at going far in this sport. Bless you.
Thank you. How about when it comes to heavier weight classes? Is it more dangerous then, or is it the same thing?
The same thing. I mean, they're just not hitting. They're picking their shots. It doesn't matter how big you are. You don't want to break your hand, right? It's a natural fear. If I was to pitch this to you without having videotape and you ever watching it before, which I used to do, I would say, come on over to this wall and punch the wall with your bare knuckle. And you would go like this. Like, you wouldn't go bang. And then I would say, here, and I put a boxing glove on you and I'd say, punch the wall, and you would go boom. Naturally, you just not in fear of hurting your hand, so you're going to hit harder with the boxing glove on. You just are. It's not that boxing gloves are more dangerous. It's the fact that in your mind, it gives you the sense of protection that you're not going to hurt your hand, so you're hitting harder. And that's why we don't have as many concussive and subconcussive injuries.
That totally makes sense. How about are you going with the global sort of events? It's so cool that you're hitting so many countries over the next 12 months. It's insane. I'd imagine it'd be way harder than just sticking to the United States and keeping it simple.
Yeah, we're finding the right partners, right? We're going to different territories. We're partnering up with some great people in some of these great countries. Some of them we're doing ourselves, and we're just finding a couple of people to help us. But the key to this success is really, really just finding the right people to be around that believe in your journey, right? Everybody wants to get involved now, but they don't understand the journey. And then when they understand the journey, we lose some of them because they don't understand what we're in it for and what we demand out of them. But, you know, some people do. And those are the people that we keep. We got a great team in Thailand, in the UK, in Middle East now, in South Africa, and Mexico. We got all these great teams all over the world now, and they understand what we expect. And they have to give a certain amount of entertainment and a certain amount of care for the fighters and the fans. Because without the fighters, we don't have anything. Without the fans, we don't have anything.
One thing that I noticed that you and Dana White, you guys always talk about the importance of the fans. You guys are really consumer centric and you guys like care about the fans. You guys are trying to build this culture and it's a very difficult thing to do, but that's what you guys are focused on, which is really good.
Yeah, I think I do it as how I want also the fans to think that they're a part of something. Like sometimes we say, hey, fans, we're going to give you a chance to pick a fight on this card. Like be a part of this, be interactive with it. But here's the real reason why bare knuckle fighting is really successful. And it's once I explain this to you, you're going to go, wow, you're so right, right? It's relatable to everybody. And here where I go with it is, listen, you get up this morning, you're not a fighter, right?
No.
But you get up this morning and life might have punched you in the face. And you have to decide, am I going to get up or am I going to lay down? Am I going to get up and go after the day or am I going to lay down and get knocked out today by life, right? Then, do you know mixed martial arts or not really?
A bit.
Do you know what an omoplata is?
No.
Okay. Do you know what a Darce choke is? No.
No.
You know what a bare knuckle punch is?
Yes. Just
Everybody in the world does. Every man, woman, child, black, white, Oriental, Mexican, doesn't matter what you are, doesn't matter how old you are, where you're from, you know what it is. It's relatable. It's relatable to the fact that you've either seen it or done it, but you know what it is. It's relatable to the fact that you can get behind it, you can support it because you can envision yourself in there because that's something that you could have done in the schoolyard. So it's relatable, and that's why people can get behind it. And what I explained is everybody gets punched every day by life, and it's what you do with it. And we give them an opportunity to back these fighters now because this is real life now. They're really getting punched in the face with a bare knuckle. Now, do they want to continue and change the life of their families, or do they want to take a knee and back up and just grab the money and leave? And that's the choice that they can make, right? And that's the choice that we can make as human beings if we're going to go on and beat up the day or we're going to get beat up by the day. And that's really all it is. But it's so relatable because everybody in the world knows what this is. They just have to watch it more. But they know getting hit with a bare knuckle, they know what it is. Watching someone hit someone with a bare knuckle, they know what it is. They understand it. They don't have to know these different moves. Yeah, mixed martial arts is super, super exciting, but you don't know what every hold is. So sometimes you get lost. But in bare knuckle fighting, you can't get lost. You get it. It's relatable to everybody, and it just relates to everyday life. There's nothing out there in the world, really. I don't think any sport in the world that's even more relatable than this sport because it's what life's all about.
Had sort of your fighters had to train differently, prepare differently for bare knuckle fighting? Is there a completely different sort of brand new sort of fighting training camp?
And not really, not really. They train stand-up fighting, boxing, mixed martial arts type of stand-up fighting. They don't train for the ground, but they do different things. They do different things to condition their knuckles and things like that. Just as you would do to condition your shins for Muay Thai, you're going to do different things to condition it. But as far as the training set and the rules and stuff like that, it's typical to boxing. There's a few little tweaks in there, but it's basically a boxing rule set.
Where do you envision sort of the future of sort of fighting sport? Like, do you feel like boxing is slowly dying out? Do you feel like that needs a complete change? Do you think MMA and bare knuckle fighting is going to dominate? Where do you think the fighting space is moving towards?
I just think that it's when these sports get contaminated and infected by the wrong people. And meaning in boxing now you have 5 major sanctioning bodies. Before you had 1 champion, 8 weight classes. Now you have 5 different champions in 17 different weight classes. So now you have 85 people that you have to keep track of. Before you had to keep track of 8 people, 8 weight classes, 1 champion, 8 fighters. Now you got to keep track of 10x that, and you can't. It's just impossible. You can't. That's why there's not as many stars, right? There were opportunity to be stars back then, superstars, because you were getting behind one person. Now you got to find 85 different champions, and then how many? 800 different contenders. It was different back then, and I think that's really kind of where boxing suffered. And another way they suffered is, people are looking for soft fights now. They're not putting the best against the best all the time. And mixed martial arts, they do that more than boxing. And mixed martial arts is also a fairly relatable craft as well as boxing is. But I just think that I just need, and what I'm doing is I'm signing a few more big name fighters. I'm going to continue to do that. And I just need more marketing. And when I do that, it's over. Because what would you rather watch? I mean, listen, you go to the World Heavyweight Championship fight, or you go to a Mike Tyson fight, right? And a fight breaks out in the crowd. Where do you watch? You watch the fight in the crowd. You watch the everyday relatable fight. You just do. So when people have the opportunity to watch this, they're going to.
How have you gone about sort of reaching more people? Has it just been social? Has it been TikTok clips, taking on influencers, marketing agencies?
All the above, all the above. Not really marketing agencies, in-house marketing, grassroots marketing, getting people to watch this thing, showing it for free, showing it behind a paywall, just doing all different things. And we're going to continue doing that until this thing grows. We're getting great partnerships with some big platforms and big networks. For instance, we're doing a deal with Fox Pay-Per-View down where you're at. And we have a long road ahead of us, but we have a fun road that it's getting shorter and shorter and narrower every day because people are starting to really know what this thing is. And it's amazing.
When you sort of talk about sort of other industries like boxing being sort of infected, like I've watched different documentaries of fighters. It seems like in the fighting world, it's sort of, there's a lot of shady people, and you talked about wanting to surround yourself with positive people. How do you sort of tell who's good, who's bad, who to align yourself with? That feeling?
Because we are in a lucky enough position right now to dictate who gets involved in our sport and who gets involved in our company, right? Because we started it. So we have an opportunity to do that. And we don't let, excuse my language, we don't let shit in there. We just don't. We let the right people in there. Now, look, they're fight people. So you're going to have to deal with some people from different organizations and different management groups that, aren't the most up and up people in the world, but they have some of the biggest fighters in the world. But having the thick skin I have now and having, being groomed to deal with these kind of people, we kind of get it. But like I said, like it's funny even today, one of my champions, who I'm not going to mention now, but he's fighting in a couple weeks and he demanded double the money 2 weeks before the fight after he already agreed to everything. And I said, listen, you don't have to fight anymore and I'm going to take your championship and you're done. And then he came back and said, no, we're not going to do it like that. It's just what happens a lot in fighting is they look at what everybody else is doing. And I think the real reason for BKFC's success is we looked at what we were doing. We didn't look at what everybody else was doing. Because I feel like, let's say you're driving a car and you're worried about what the car next to you is doing the whole time. Instead of worrying about what you're doing, you're going to get in a car accident, right? So if you have a business and you're worrying about what your competition's doing more than you're worrying about what you're doing, you're not going to succeed. So we worry about what we're doing, and I think that's what puts us in a great position. We don't talk bad about anybody. We just do our thing. And I think that if some of these other people just worried about doing their thing, that it would be a lot better industry to be involved in.
Do you sort of pick or see certain fighters that have what it takes, has the personality, and you guys focus on building them up? Is that a thing you guys do?
Yeah, that's what we're doing now. We brought a couple people in to really help build character development with some of the fighters. We're going to pick about a dozen that we really want to try to make into stars that can really fight and need a little help on their character development. We're going to do that this year. That's a big goal for us this year, is to help create some stars inside of BKFC, not just bring stars in to help grow BKFC, but also create our own stars. That's a big part of this year's growth.
Does it ever get easier? Because as you mentioned earlier, like there's last minute pullouts, people demanding more money, injuries, so you're constantly having to reshuffle the cards. Will it, or does it ever get easier with each event?
You get used to it more, but it doesn't get easier, because if you're passionate about it, it just doesn't get easier. If you don't care, it gets easier, right? If you don't care who you put in there and you don't care who the fans see fight, it can get easier. But if you want to deliver the best product to the fans always, it never gets easier, because you're always worrying about if you're doing the right thing. But at the end of the day is, you get used to it, but just because you're used to it doesn't mean you sleep better at night.
In the like fighting space, or even in the sports industry, what's the main way sport companies, leagues stay afloat? Is it all pay-per-view? Is it licensing? Is it merch deals? Like, how do they stay afloat? Because it's such big expenses. The events are massive. Like, how do you guys like even break even?
Some we do, some we don't, and it's fundraising and getting to a point that you need to be at. It's sponsorships are growing tremendously. Ticket sales are going through the roof. Ad revenue on a lot of our content is doing very, very well. Our merchandise, we just signed a new merchandise deal. We're expecting to do great there. International rights with different countries that buy the rights to the TV now, that's doing well. Everything has just grown dramatically over the past year and a half, and really over the past 3 months. It really just took a big jump, and we're not profitable right now. We're very close to being profitable, but we're aiming to be profitable, plus or minus very little money by the end of 2024. And 2025 is projected to be a fairly serious profitable year for us.
David, like, how did you go from being like a fighter to maybe having a few bars to now running like an international organization, knowing about the finances, projections? Like, that's a lot that, you have to sort of handle. How did you learn it all?
I soak it up fast and want to be around something. I want to be around the right people. That's what I said. I want to be around positive people. I want to be around successful people. I want to be around people that want to make something of themselves. And not that doesn't mean money. That means like, I want to be the best husband in the world, right? I want to be the best husband in the world. So I'm going to hang around people that want to be the best husbands in the world, not someone that's abusing their wife, right? It's just I want to hang around success in your particular field. And I think if you do that, you really want to soak up their knowledge, and that's how you learn it. And like I said, there was just a difference in me. I knew that I had to be something bigger in life because I wasn't supposed to be. So I want to be a role model. I want to be a reason for people to follow their dreams and to not let people tell them they can't do things. And that's part of my why as well. I have a couple different whys, and I'm going to start a foundation as well soon. In the next 3 to 6 months, I'm going to a foundation for physically and sexually abused children, and that's a big project for me. And that's something that is one of my big whys behind why I don't sleep at night and why I do work 24 hours a day, really.
Yeah, you mentioned why quite a few times. Is it something that you constantly remind yourself each morning? Is it part of your routine? Or do you just think about your why throughout the day? Is there a trigger for you to sort of be like, hey, like, let me remember why I'm doing this to get through this sort of tough meeting?
Yeah, you know what? It's not just tough; it's success too. Like, right? Yeah, it is. When I get bad news or something didn't go my way, and I go, okay, here's why we're in it. Let's keep pushing. But there's also times where I'm doing really good, and sometimes I forget why I was really there. Like I forget that I'm doing it for this reason because I'm like, man, this is gonna be unbelievable. We're gonna be doing this, and I'm like, I forgot for a minute. Wait a second, buddy, slow down for a minute. We have to get this and this done before we can do that. And so, yeah, I mean, you're constantly checking yourself.
Tell me about this sort of partnership with Conor McGregor. That was super cool how he showed up to your event and like, I think I was hearing a podcast with your interview. He showed up last minute. You only found out on the day. And tell me all about that. That must have been like super cool.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of knew about the event. He fought two of the guys that were on that card. We were tight with some people on his team, and he just wanted to come. And he ended up. I didn't think he was going to come, and he ended up showing up and just taking it over, man, and coming in the ring and promoting us afterwards. And now we were able to form a partnership with his beer company, where he becomes an influencer for us, and we help him grow his company. He helps us grow our company, and it's a win-win for everybody. It's just, look again. I started this thing where nobody believed in it. Nobody. And now I got the biggest name in combat sports, and all of combat sports is partnering with our company. That's unbelievable, right? Like that has to tell you that you can do really anything you want if you work hard enough. And and you do. The one thing I didn't mention to you is the thing I live by, and I tell my staff and fighters and everybody always is they ask me questions, should I do this or should I do that? Should I do this or should I do that? And I go, what's the right thing to do? Well, this one's going to make more money. No. I didn't ask you that. What's the right thing to do? What do you think is the right thing? Like, what is karma not going to bite you in the ass for? What's the right thing? And they tell me this, and I say, well, then do that one. And I said, because if you do the right thing, it has to work out for you. If you don't do the right thing, it's always going to come back to find you some way, shape, or form. But if you do the right thing, it's going to work out. So just do the right thing. And it's easy. But you know what? You think like you get a shortcut by doing the wrong thing sometimes. And there are no shortcuts. There's no shortcuts in life, man. And you find out the hard way. But, it's just do the right thing and, surround yourself with the right people, man. And that's really my key to success.
Has there been any sort of entrepreneurs that you looked up to or OG fighters that has reached out to you as of recent? You're like, wow, this is so cool that person is now watching my sport and my organization.
Yeah, man, they all do. Like, it's crazy. Every one of them are. And when I see this guy posting about it or that guy posting about it, I'm like, wow, man, like pinch myself. Like these guys who I was buying pay-per-views to watch them fight are now buying my pay-per-view. Like, it's unbelievable. It's just, it's really, truly unbelievable how far this has grown and how many people know about this thing. And it's amazing.
Has Dana White reached out ever since that last conversation many years back where he was like, no one's going to watch this? Have you heard from him since?
Yeah, through people that know each other through it's good. listen, I don't talk bad about the guy. What happens is you get these other MMA organizations that are talking bad about him because they want to be where he's at. So they think they talk bad about him and they're going to be there. They didn't go through the grind he went through. They didn't go through the struggles he went through. They don't know what it's like to raise money and to blow all the money and have to tell your friends you blew all their money. Like, they don't know what that's like. That's death, man. And he went through it. And now he reaped the reward of it. A lot of times people compare us to the growth of the UFC and they go, how does that feel? And I go, it feels unbelievable and amazing, man. You're going to tell me, like, if you started a football league and someone ever compared you to the NFL, like, you're going to feel really good about yourself, right? So I feel really good whenever I get compared to Dana White. And I know our paths are going to cross very soon. And I'm looking forward to it.
How do you make sure, like, what happens in boxing where there's a bunch of different leagues and people can't keep track, doesn't happen to MMA and I guess sort of bare knuckle? I know you guys are sort of in your lane, but there's sort of more and more sort of MMA sort of leagues starting to crop up. Is the same thing going to happen to boxing to MMA?
Yeah, I think it's going to. I don't think it's going to happen as big and as wide and as fast, but it certainly is going to. And at the end of the day, it's just, I'm going to preach to all these guys. Listen, I welcome competition. I wish you guys the best. Again, just do the right thing. Do the right thing to the fighters. Do the right thing to the fans. That's all I say is don't put on these crap fights. Don't treat the fighters wrong. Do the right thing, because then everybody's going to talk about the sport and be like, this is the sport you need to be in. So let's all do the right thing together, and we're going to create something special.
Yeah, right. It's saying like the fact that you're like, this is a less damaging sport. It's like, of course I want to put my like back behind this. Like, it's like, on the surface, I didn't know that was the case until you shared that.
Well, nobody does. Look, perception is a crazy thing, right? They say perception is reality, and people have perception over certain things. And I like it and I don't like it because, like the guy next door, for instance, not my guy next door, but the guy next door might be really, really quiet and doesn't talk to you. And you go, man, that guy's an ass. Like, he doesn't want to talk to me. He doesn't want to say anything to me. He's rude. He's this, he's that. And you don't know if he's battling a huge battle of depression and just needs someone to go over and say hi to him and talk to him, right? But your perception's telling you one thing. So the perception on this is telling you it's a brutal, violent sport that happens in the backyard in bar fights, and the guys can't fight, and they're just going out there trying to kill each other. And it's anything but that. So all I do is always just ask people, do me a favor, just watch it once and then come back and tell me what you think of it. And if you don't like it after that, I'll respect you 1,000%, but I won't respect your perception without watching it.
Tell me about the growth trajectory of the company. Like, how many employees were you guys at a few years back? How many employees do you have now? And like, what does that trajectory look like?
The first 2.5, 3 years, we had 4 full-time employees. 4 full-time employees. We now have a little over 20 full-time employees, a lot of part-time employees. We doubled our revenue year over year, every year so far. And this year, going into 24, we're actually 6xing we're projected to 6x our revenue. And next year, we're projected to 6x that revenue. We have some really big deals going in place, and we got here way faster than I thought we were going to get here, to be honest with you. And the revenue projections and the right partnerships that I'm doing are just, they're incredible. And, I always said it, I want to be the first person from my town to have $1 billion business. And I think I'm going to be.
You're so patient. Like, it's amazing how, like, the fact that you thought you guys have hit your goals much faster than you thought, that means you had a long-term sort of mindset. You were sort of taking it slow and steady. And that's like really, really rare, being that patient.
Yeah, I mean, look, I wish it happened faster. I hope it happened faster. But at the end of the day, is if you don't look down the street, the problem with so many people is, like, they see a quick cash grab and they're like, wow, listen, I could have been a millionaire 10 times so far. Oh yeah, I could be a millionaire. I could be a millionaire. And then what? And then what? Right? I don't want to be a millionaire. I want to be a billionaire, and I don't want to be a billionaire. Like, when I say that, that's not the money. That's the legacy. That's the changing all these little young kids' lives that have had bad lives, that I'm going to be able to help change their lives, and they're not going to get abused. And it's about my team that bled for me and my fighters that bled for me and risked their lives for me each and every time to change these guys' lives. And when you have a bigger meaning, that nothing can stop you. And that's really where it is. So patience I always saw down the street, and now it's going faster and faster, and it's just unbelievable. And it's awesome, and I love it, and I have an unbelievable wife that supports the hell out of me and lets me chase my dreams. This is not an easy life to live with, being married to someone like me who's traveling 5 days a week in 2 different countries every week, and you don't know where I'm at and what I'm doing. It's not an easy thing. So, I take my hat off to my wife and thank her so much for having the support, because without her, I really wouldn't be here. And she knows why I'm doing this, and that's why. Again, the why, right? Why am I doing this? And she gets why. She knows why. She knows it's not about the money. And I think that's where everything changes.
Yeah. Has there been any cash grabs or any wrong moves that you turned down because you knew this was the wrong decision, even though on paper it would have been, a lot of money?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. I mean, a couple of the bigger organizations out there had made me offers, and like I said, I would have been set for the rest of my life. Listen to what I just said. I would have been set for the rest of my life, but no one on my team would have. So I live on an island by myself. Like, for what? Who am I going to talk to? Who am I going to hang around with? Who am I going to eat dinner with? Right? I don't want to do that. I want to be around the people that help me get there, and I think a lot of people lose focus that way. Some people say they're for the fighters and they're fighter companies, and in the day, they're not fighter companies, man. I really want these fighters to make money. I want everybody to make money. I mean, how much money do you need, right? Like, how much money do you really need? And if you can make, like, let's just say I was able to get $1 billion for this business. How much money do I need? Like, what do you need? Like, why can't these guys change their lives? Because guess what? If they didn't go out there and risk their life for me and the fans, I wouldn't get that money. So let's change it for them. And I'm not saying I'm doubling or tripling or doing all this different. I'm just doing a little better than anybody else. And I'm not even making money, and I'm doing a little better than anybody else. I'm going in the hole more and more, but it's okay because I know where that thing turns. And this is that year. It's just unbelievable. This year, 2024, the end of 2024 is going to be, the best business year of my entire life. And it's going to all have been worth it at the end of this year.
How many fighters did you have in the first few years, and how many fighters do you guys have now? Tell me about that growth.
Well, we've got we've got a pool of like 600 fighters, but we have a little over 200 under exclusive contract with us. And when we first started it, we had no fighters under contract, and then we had single fight contracts, and it just took us a while to get here. But the growth has been great. People really want to come and fight for us. Like I said, it's not just, I don't want to use it, it's a movement, but it's a movement. We're moving to a different direction here. And we're moving to a place where I think that you should care about your team and your fighters. And if you care about the people around you, I think you have a great shot of success. And again, it depends what your success is. If your success is to sit on this hill by yourself with billions of dollars underneath you, then you might have a different success. And if your success is to share it along the way, then that's a different success. But success to me is, spreading the wealth, helping everybody, and doing the things that I want to do, starting this foundation so people don't have to go through what I went through in life. And, that's a big goal to me.
One of the big sort of thing I can feel is like you really care for your employees, your fighters, the viewers, the fans. And it's sort of like you're sort of looking after every single sort of party in the industry, which is like so good.
Well, I mean, again, it's mindset. It's all your mindset. It really is. It's who are you? Who really are you as a person? And when you find out who you are, and it might take a long time for you to find out who you are, but when you find out who you are, then you know your purpose and your why. Again, your why. Like, we're doing these tryouts. They're called BKFC tryouts, and the tagline is, "What's your why? Why are you doing this? Why do you want to get a scar for the rest of your life? What are you doing this? What's in it for you? What are you fighting for? What are you fighting for?" Like, I know what I'm fighting for. And I'm almost there. And it's a great feeling. And it's tiresome. It's stressful. It's heart aching sometimes. You do get screwed over by people, and people double cross you, and it's horrible. But at the end of the day I know why I'm fighting, and I know why these guys are fighting. And it's been one hell of a run. And I'm looking forward to waking up tomorrow, making some big things happen.
What's your biggest lesson or advice through all the sort of hardship you've gone through, all the adversity, the double crosses, the backstabs? Like, what's the biggest lesson that you can sort of impart to our audience, given that you've been through all that, to maybe lessen the pain for others?
It really, man, it's just surround yourself with the right people. It really, truly is. Like I said, man, if someone's negative and hating on people all the time, man, they're not the right person to be around. They're just not. And you just got to really surround yourself with the right people. And you're going to go through the wrong people to get to the right people. But surround yourself with the right people, and you're going to mitigate, the losses in your life, and you're not going to have to go through too many restarts because you're going to have the right people around you. And, I think I separate myself from a lot of different people out there because I really, truly do care about these guys, man. And it's showing. It's coming back to us. and we're in a great spot, and I'm happy. And I don't want to cut this off, but I'm going to get yelled at by the wife. It's been an hour. I'm glad I talked to you. Do you have any other last minute questions before we get out of here?
Last two questions, I like to wrap it up. One, any recent discoveries that you've been implementing to your day-to-day life?
Yeah, man, I'm actually, I've been through a lot in my life, and I talk to somebody every week, and it's given me great insight in life and where I need to be and what my purpose is. Really, I go back to what's your why, and why are you really doing this? And I know really why I'm doing this now, and I know why I have the people I have in my life now. They're there for a reason, and the bigger purpose is, why am I doing this? And I know why I'm doing it now. I really know why, because you get lost sometimes, but I'm not lost anymore.
And the last question is, what's the goal and focus for the next 6 months?
Well, you know what? I think it's bigger than 6 months, so I can't really give you the 6 months. I'm going to tell you that in 2 years, I'd like to think that we are the second biggest combat sports promotion in the world. And in 3 to 5 years, we either get a big influx of cash and get to bring in other people so we don't have to work as hard, or exit the company.
That's beautiful. David, I really appreciate your time. Where can people find more about you? How can they follow along all the journey, watch all the fights? What's the best place for people to go to?
Instagram is at David Feldman BKFC. At bare-knuckle FC is the bare-knuckle fighting championship Instagram, and on our website bkfc.com. That's it, man. You can find a lot about us there. Please watch us. If you never watched bare-knuckle fighting before, you like combat sports, tune in, go to bkfc.com, watch our content. You know what our purpose is now, and hopefully you can support us.
Thank you so much for your time today, David. I really appreciate it. I love how patient, long-term, you have like a big vision, like the billion goal, like it's so motivational. Like after just chatting with you, I'm so motivated to keep working on my why, my company. And you're such a caring and grateful person. And yeah, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, my man. Have a great day.
Awesome. So yeah, this is another episode of the podcast. If you guys got value, please let me know. And I'll see you guys next week with another episode. Peace.